Okay, so in order to create an adaptive component, I'm going to create a new family, and here I'm going to select generic model adaptive. Okay, and open it. And what I want to do is, for now, to start placing some points that will be adaptive and create a simple lofted extrusion for a louver. So we have under create, under draw, we have the point element. So I'm just going to place some points here, and let's specify the work plane, and then let's place it here. And let's go to the elevation, and the point is there. I'm just going to move it down and lock it to the reference plane. You don't have to do that, but I want to just create other instances of it that will control my geometry. So if I want to copy this directly, I can just hold the control button on my keyboard, and then using the move key I can create instances of it. So I'll just move these around, just arbitrarily for now, like this. So I need 6 of them for this exercise. And let's go to the 3D view. So I have only 6 points right now. And what I want to do is select them, select all of them together in an order, and then if you go to your ribbon, here we have the make adaptive option. So this will number these adaptive points. Okay, so I'm going to make them adaptive first, and then draw the profiles on them. So now that I've made these adaptive, I want to create a rectangular profile on all of these that will control the geometry. So I'm going to work with reference lines. So I go to modify reference, and I need to set a work plane. And the work plane is going to be these perpendicular planes that will create the lofted geometry. So I select that plane on the first point, and I'm going to draw a rectangle over there. And after I draw it, I want to use some annotations to control the thickness and the depth of this louver. And let's make them type parameters as well. So I'll add a parameter, and I'll leave it as a type parameter, and let's call this width, and this one as depth. Okay, and these parameters are going to be shared with all of them, but we have to create them individually, because when I loft the geometry, I want the points to be distorted. So maybe I want to move this up or down, I want to move it right or left, and the lofted geometry will be continuous. So there's an easy way to actually do the same operation. I need to set up a new work plane, and this will be on the second adaptive point. So I'll go to set work plane again and select this plane. And after I do it, I could just use the pick lines and reference lines and pick lines. And if I click on the first rectangular profiles that I've created, I can get the same rectangle shape. Okay? And I need to do this for all of these, so that I have a profile on all the adaptive points. So I first set up the new work plane, and then using the pick line tool, I create the same profile here, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Pick lines again. So it's pretty fast. Yeah. Let's keep doing this. So I do the final one. Okay, so the profiles are there. Now what I want to do is, let's select all these reference lines in the order that we've created them, and then hit create form. So this is kind of a simple extrusion that I've just created. And what I want to make sure that is that if I move any of these adaptive points, the geometry will be continuous. So I can move them up or down because they could be in any position on the surface. Those points could be distorted anyway. So I want to make sure that this will be continuous. So I can move them individually. So it seems to be working. But one thing we need to make sure is that these parameters control all of those profiles. So if I go to the type properties and change the depth, let's say the depth is 2 and the width is 0.6, it will only change the first one. So these, either I can have different parameters here or kind of create an exponential formula for different parameters here, or I can reuse them. So let's go ahead and delete this form for now and set up these annotations as well. So I go to create, and first we need to set up the work plane again, because these annotations are on this work plane that control this profile, and I need the annotations for this profile to be on that same work plane as well, because it could be anywhere in space. So I first set up the work plane there, and then using the align tool I set up these new annotations, and this one I set to be depth and this one to be the width. So I have to do it 6 times. So again, set, go to the third one, annotations, vertical and horizontal, and this one is going to be depth. Actually I can set up those afterwards. So let's go to the fourth one, annotations, set fifth one. It actually recognizes the last tool that I've used if I use it in an order. So I don't have to click on annotations actually. I can just click on the set work plane and it brings in the last function. So after I did those, I have to set these horizontal ones and specify them to be the width, and these vertical ones and specify them to be the depth. So now if I control all of them, if I change one of them, let's make this 5, they will all be adjusted at the same time. And in order to finish, I'm going to create my geometry and then hit create form. What I could have done is to actually draw the profile at the center. I actually kind of offset it, but it's okay. I mean, you can do different profiles or play around with it as well. So this is pretty much done. I'm going to save it and name it as Adaptive Louver. Now that it's done, let's create a new project file. So I go to Revit, New Project, Architectural Template. And let's go ahead and create a simple mass. Let's open up the 3D view, and I want to go to the massing and side options and in place mass. Let's rename it as mass 1, and then create a simple rectangle extrusion for now. And let's make this a bit tall. So maybe it's that tall, and this side is maybe, you can use the tab key and move it around. So let's see, this one, let's go to level 1. I'm going to move it around a little bit. I want it to be longer, and I also want to add some undulation here to propagate our louvers. So let's say I select the mass again, and this time I want to add an edge, and let's say not an edge, but I want to add another profile. Let's create another profile at level 2. Use reference line, and let's make this a bit undulated. And I want to get just rid of these. I'm just going to loft the surface here. I guess we have to add another plane. Let's create form for now. Finish mass. Let's add another level. And add it as a new floor plan. And let's go to that floor plan, and I want to edit this form. Let's go to level 3 and define a new section there. Let's say it's like this. So I want the loft to be like this. Let's say that's my surface. And finish mass. Let's look at it in shaded view. So it's kind of undulating. There's some sort of movement, and I can control it as well. If I'm not happy about it, I could just go to any corresponding levels and then push or pull these control points. It might be good to have the end normals to be perpendicular. So these could stay here. Maybe we push them in or out. So this guy, maybe it's a bit like this. Okay, but you get the idea. And now what I want to do is select the surface and then subdivide it. So I select the surface and go to divide surface. And this part is important because if you remember, the adaptive component that we created was using 6 points. So what I need is, if these are going to be vertical panels, I need 6 points total in this vertical row. So I need to change these numbers. So if I type in 5 here, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the number that I need in vertical direction. In the horizontal direction I need more. Let's say 24. So now I get more density. And in surface tools, in surface representation, I need to turn on the nodes so that I can see these points. And I'm done with the mass. Let's go back to our panel and load it into our project. Now when you load it into the project, it will instantly come as a component. But we have to do this operation in 3D. So if you go to 3D and it's already loaded, you could go to Architecture, Component, and the adaptive louver will be there. And if you remember the order, we went from 1 to 6. So you have to select all these points one by one. So I have to start here. This is the first one, second one, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Let me see. It's giving me a problem. Let's try it again. say chain maybe. It's actually not placing. My bad. I didn't get into the surface edit option, so this needs to be. You have to be within the mass editing option. So when you select the surface, you have to go to edit in place, and when you're there, you have to create component tool, and when you click the component, now every time you're placing a point, it will preview you how it's going to look like. So you should just make sure that it's looking right. And I'm going to start here and go down. Let me see. It's still having some problem. I don't know why it's working horizontally but not vertically, so I'll just change the subdivision. Let's make this 20 and this one 5 for now. And then let's try using the component again. This one, this one, this one. And when I finish it, it kind of bakes the object. And I can keep adding these, but I can just finish the mass, select, go back to the mass tool, edit in place, and when you select this component, under modify tab there is a repeat function. So if you click on repeat, it will repeat it in the same direction to the other louvers to kind of do the same operation that we have been doing. And right now these are a bit thick and deep, so I'll just select one of these louvers, and since we haven't specified a type parameter, I could go to one of its edit type parameters. So let's see if it's there. Edit family, let me see, it's here. Say finish mass. Okay, you have to get out of the mass family, and then here I can specify a different width and depth. Let's say our width is going to be thinner, and then the depth is going to be smaller as well. And when you say apply, it's now calculating the new property, and this is kind of how it works. I don't know why it didn't work the other direction. I mean, I think it works in both directions, so, but it kind of gives you the idea, right?